Hi, friends. Welcome back to Occultists Anonymous. Does this feel
Just me.
does it feel uncomfortable, or is it?
Welcome to our romantic intimate episode.
uh, Happy Pride. and the swarm of people immediately making a decision now. I'm totally here for this, or I think I'm out. Don't worry, it's cool. It's just going to be an intimate episode about the character Petrichor. But of course, thank you all for joining us. There, in case you're also wondering, yes, there's going to be one for everybody. Don't worry. Chris doesn't actually get special attention, but probably will be the first one that you all see. But yeah, quick shout out to all our patrons. Thank you all for supporting. Thank you to Adele, Alice, Aiden, Al, Alexander, Alstred, BBL, Drizzy, Bernie, Buck, Chris, Doc, Emil, Ethan, Jeff, George, I'm the Real 06, James, Camo, Catfeathers, Klaus, Live Love Lesbian, Happy Pride, Milo V3, Moku, Mozart D Minor, Nexus, Nick, Other Guy, Perry, Foog, Polka Dot Hubris, Porter, Puppeteer, Riafio, Sean, Shaxara, Starfish, Taryn, Terry, Thomas Verhex, Vincent, and Vortex Falcon. Thank you all for joining us. I'm realizing I might end up cutting all that out and just do it once and just do an intro. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll cut this part out. Okay.
Seat of our pants.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we left the coven, they'd all left with Petrichor on a giant cloud tempest. It's not really a castle. Clubhouse of the Tempest Star. Well, no, wild, excuse me. Amphitheater. We were in the amphitheater.
Yeah, we're in the amphitheater, but there's like a term. It's like it's not the Acropolis, but like there's like a term for like the high part of Athens that like people did politics on.
Yeah. It may have been the Acropolis. I can't remember, but yeah. If you know what we're talking about, put it in the YouTube comments. Later. Yeah. After we're done recording, if it's anything like me. Yeah, having gathered up basically all of the Tempestari in attendance, which is quite a few of them, having recently met up with all of them because of other Tempestari things, the regular meeting. And a lot of folks had stayed around for the 2 weeks during which 4 idiots had jumped into the maelstrom itself, and then having come out with, hey, we need to talk about this guy Ahi Bahu, and 3 folks trying to make quick escape, which as I mentioned previously, if 3 people were dumb enough to do it, that means there's probably more than 3 folks who are like, I'm gonna be chill about this and play it cool. So
don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yeah, we have a lot of side eye, a lot of people looking about, and I think we jump in with Petrichor at the I guess the base of the amphitheater, the focus of it, with Abigail standing away a little bit, but up there with you. She is there supporting. She doesn't actually know what's going on. And then an 8-foot tall marble statue of an angel with a flaming sword with an imposing helmet. I feel like it's a faceless kind of guardian. Just on loan, no big deal. Which also has like, you're 3 ranks into the legacy. Yeah. So you were in that place where you could take on an apprentice. Yeah,
that was like the thing we talked about before I jumped in.
Right. Yes. And so you have a voice here, right? You're not an apprentice. You're not a newbie. You have a voice, but not any of the leadership or anything like that. Right. But that big old angel is lending a bit of authority. It's a little bit of threat of violence, but I feel like that's not necessarily the Tempestari way, but it's understood that like we mess with big forces. We do things big, loud, Yeah.
Right.
So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, so she's like at the sort of stage or bottom of this amphitheater. Um, I think the whole like falling up through the tempest to get out part was just sort of like very much trying to lean the most into her shadow name possible,
Mm-hmm.
because Isabel is not the calm before the storm. Isabel is the fucking storm.
Yeah.
Um and Patricore is that like that bit of patience, that anticipation, um and knowing that like this is gonna be a mess, and I'm likely, you know, poking the hornet's nest. Absolutely, I guarantee, like, somebody had to have been like, that was another thing that I kind of realized some point during last episode, is like the most likely candidates for whoever was like helping him get supplies or like letting him in and out had to have been someone involved in the Tempestari.
Yep.
Um,
A question for Chris: has
mhm.
Isabel Petrichor thought of the fact that this is maybe the deep dark secret of all the Tempestari?
I don't think that has occurred to her, but it maybe does, like, as she's speaking, and then I think she just has this like sort of uh this thought towards Helena of just like gratitude that I have this like backup here.
Because I had
Um,
wondered about that. It's like, hey, I found this deep dark secret. I'm about to just,
I'm about to be in trouble.
yeah.
um, yeah, and so I think it's just this like um very serious. It was wild and bombastic when I was trying to make it be a scene enough to like get everyone's attention, and now it's just this very serious, factual. If I would still have this high speech spell on, right? It hasn't been dropped, so everything's in high speech. They can know. They can know I'm not lying. I'm not. I'm not even using the expression that I could.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just this very like we were tricked and suckered into um, spending time in what we thought was a safe place in the Tempest. We were fed horrific, you know, experimental food created out of residents of the Tempest, of the supernal world, which we are all as an order tied. Um, and we, you know, I know that this must be something that transcends the politics of our world. This is a sin against the supernal itself and the divine. And we made the call to bring in an arbiter of justice from the primal wilds.
Yeah.
And
You get a lot of like these murmurs of,
mhm,
some is like, oh, we don't believe that, but that's the one that like sticks, and everyone goes, okay, that's, yeah, the like, so calling up a supernal being to make the call on this, because there's some rumbles even as Petrichor is speaking of, you should have brought him before us, you, who are you to make these calls, more low and not interrupting you calls, but who does she think she is, and then,
mhm.
oh, no, I called up a supernal being to make this call. um but there is the one louder voice. Well, actually, no, that's true. Yeah, speaking in high speech. Yeah, so they're getting raw facts, no expression, no.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah.
think at that point, it it it's Abigail who kind of steps up as, you're finishing the tale, the facts,
Mhm.
right? And Abigail kind of walks up and like puts a hand on your shoulder. It's not a like supportive thing. It is a yo, I've got your back. I see where
Right.
this is going. Um, and uh, there's more murmurs as people are amongst themselves coming to the same realization. Where was he coming in and out of? And
Mm.
finally, somebody says it, but people don't come out of the maelstrom. Like, you die when you go in, generally speaking, obviously, because you were
Right.
right here. And how how did you escape the tempest?
We tilted ourself out and escaped through layers of storm, through layers of atmosphere, and eventually out beyond the stars,
Yeah, because you were.
past these supernals that represent cosmic forces.
Yep, you were out in the black and then
Yeah.
through. Um, and the conversation, they had to fly. So, has anybody seen anybody flying out of, they're trying to figure out, like, as if Ahibahu is like going in and out, every week, every month, or something like that. um Trying to think how, because Petrichor explains, no, it's, he was an old dude.
Yeah.
um
And what was the last point of reference he had was like
Ottoman Empire, you
Ottoman
know
Empire. Yeah.
yeah. So, it had been 100 years or so, I think,
Yeah.
is what we had
Yeah.
determined.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 1453 um would have been around the last time he had come out.
Right. And so yeah, I think Isabel made that clear. It's like he definitely had not personally been out in the world for hundreds of years. But he had supplies that were newer than that.
Yeah, because the tea was tea.
Consuming, because they're consumable ingredients, teas. They're like honey and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Like his food was not all this abomination. They were merely parts of ingredients.
Yep. uh and so the recognition of, okay, he's been in there and people have been sending him stuff, if nothing else, throwing throwing bags of tea into the maelstrom, right? And so the eyes are looking around, and like, it's quiet. Like, there's no pointing fingers. Like, everyone's just watching each other. So yes, with that, as nobody's willing to kind of step forward, Abigail eventually just points a finger and she says, "Okay, well, Thunsus, Thunsus, yes. Where were you? Where were you off to as soon as Petrichor brought forth this challenge?" And this, well, Greek Mediterranean area gentleman kind of leans back and shakes his head and says, somebody comes out of the tempest and is shouting stories of ancient men surviving in the tempest, a place that we know most people don't survive. She's I thought she was telling tales. And like, it's definitely see right through it, especially, Sheriff Isabel. Right? Just kind of, no, that's not gonna fly, kind of thing.
I'm sorry that you think so little of your fellows in the order that they would come out and tell tales of something happening that was not true.
I believe you now.
And then she'll like point out the other two that she had seen. Maybe she doesn't know, but
Mm-hmm.
did you two also feel the same?
And one of them, Normus, is another Mediterranean-looking gentleman. The last is a female woman who also seems to be somewhere from that Persian, Grecian range. Uh, I really should pronounce these names aloud before just writing them
At
down.
least once, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Nashaf. Yeah, Nashaf.
Mhm.
And she's looking, and like very quickly, just if you look at the three of them, we're not saying that they look familial,
Mhm.
but they definitely look like they're from the same region. Right. Uh, and when it's the three of them and it's kind of spread out across the amphitheater, you wouldn't notice. But when
Mhm.
when you're sitting there going, hang on, and Abigail, I think is right there with you, going,
Mhm.
um, aren't the three of you? Didn't you all share a mentor? A- and that causes the like the
The hubbub.
yeah, that kicks the hornet's nest, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, okay, hang on, and we definitely get into the uh
Rabble, rabble, rabble.
yeah, combined with um a lot more finger pointing
Uh-huh.
and going like, wait, hang on, oh yes, and didn't they mentor also so and so and so and so, without just generating a bunch of names that aren't going to matter.
Sure.
It's quickly like, okay, there's one mentor at least who led to these three, who was friends with somebody else, and we start to see the gears start to turn as people go, there may have been a conspiracy. Duh, that's what Petrichor's been saying.
Yeah.
And Abigail, being ranked 4, that step up
Mhm.
above you, kind of steps up and using her broom, because you mentioned on the last episode slamming it
Yeah.
down and making that big
Mhm.
thumping. It's like, okay, we're the Tempestari, but we have some level of order here. And basically calls the three of them down, and brought forward, and I think we need to um, a tribunal of sorts, because the three of them are all, well, two of them are seers, and one of
Mhm.
them is from the Diamond Order.
Yep.
And Abigail is like, oh yeah, ooh, hang on, because Abigail's unaffiliated, just like you are,
Yep.
and it's like, ooh, yeah, nope, that's a whole other level of politicking that
Mhm.
she doesn't necessarily want to get into. Um, okay, yes, we need a tribunal, and she like kind of looks over at you, and there's this grimace, and maybe somebody from the Silver Ladder can assist with this, and one of the seers, um, no, we're not bringing anybody outside, nobody else, because let's be honest, Silver Ladder and Tempestari, not a normal match.
No.
Not
No.
adamantine arrow, a lot of adamantine arrow here,
Mhm.
some mysterium,
Yeah.
but not really a Silver Ladder
And
thing.
the seers are probably uh like nemesis worshippers and
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, no,
Garyon is it Garyon is the like one from the shadows?
Yeah, and then of course I have my whole new list
Yeah,
for back now. But
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
um, and so yeah, yeah, you're right. Um, and this is the part where I'm going to toss it to Chris. How are you feeling about your dual arcane?
Okay,
Gotta dig
sounds
up.
great.
I gotta dig up them rules though.
Hmm.
Because yeah, we don't play with the house rules around here. Well, excuse me, we do play with the
We
house
do
rules.
play with house rules. That house was built by Milo.
So yeah, I'm thinking that one of them would come up against you.
Okay.
So the three of them, and like immediately any attempts at like hiding that they're involved with Ahibahu kind of falls to the side. Is like the three of them have been brought forward. People are starting to put two and two together.
Sure.
And they're like, no, no, no. We're we had reason, right? And that is the dual arcane. Whether or not supporting Ahibahu was the right thing or not, and we're going to
Right.
let the dual arcane decide it. Um, so we have to set the terms, which we did.
Mhm.
Or rather,
Oh, what is the terms?
yeah. Because in this particular case, I am thinking, and feel free because this is a little bit on Petrichor's side. It has to be worth it to her, but that they are removed from the legacy,
Hmm.
and
Like
not just
exile,
like banished from the Tempestari, but like
the cut off.
right.
Yeah.
Which everyone is like, damn, but at the same time, yeah, short of death, like,
Yeah.
and the three of them are like, well, then ditto, like
Yeah.
you,
I think. Oh, really? Okay.
like throwing you out for bringing, no, what we did was right, and how dare you say otherwise, or because that's
Yeah.
the um, when we say the charge against you, or it's not really a charge against you so much as and feel free to throw me something else if you have an idea, but like it's the if you lose, what do you lose, right?
Um. Yeah. I think it would probably be like there'd be an argument that I should have like lesser stakes, like
Mm-hmm.
like like prosecutors don't have
Right,
like
yeah, no,
like if they fail to convict, they don't go to the jail instead, right?
right.
Um,
No, and that's true, but the nature of
but
the
like a
dual,
censure or like like 6 months banishment or something like that
well,
without being
I
removed
realized
or something. Yeah.
they basically put forth, no, 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 we were right to do this and to teach you, you will be our apprentice, like whoever's as basically bump the idea of bumping you down a rank and
Mm,
to be their apprentice so they can properly teach you, which is this is going to be a problem, but yeah, it's
sure.
not kicking you out of the legacy or anything
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
fine. Okay. Sure.
uh let's see here. By default, each party requires 10 successes to win. Apply modifiers. Their gnosis is higher than yours. Yes. It's only one higher. It's definitely not twice. Um, their wisdom. Oh, actually, I need to do this on both sides because your successes will be different from theirs.
Mm.
So, Petrichor,
My wisdom's probably higher than theirs.
it is. It is much higher.
Yeah, two. Great.
Yep. Okay, so Petrichor started at 10, but needs 11. They started at 10, 2 tiers higher. What is your wisdom? I don't
8.
even know. 8. Oh, okay. So they're. Oh, they might be.
If they're falling wisdom, it's 2 tiers.
Okay. Yep.
Otherwise, it's 1.
Yep. So 2 tiers. So
So if
12.
they're 3 or less, then yeah.
Mm-hmm. They are not in love with you. They were not your mentor. Um, they are from an allied sect or hostile sect. Neither,
Neither.
because you are not allied to Sears or Diamond Order. Is considered your rival. No. Declared your intention to destroy your opponent. No. Surrounding environment is appropriate for the opponent's path. Well, it is for both of y'all. Do you want you both to need an additional success or call it a wash? Okay. They need 13, you need 12.
Mhm.
Yeah. So as the continuing the narrative while we're also going through the rules, yes, like the amphitheater center stage, and it's the Tempestari. Dual Arcane feels like a fairly regular thing to that. It's like, we're arguing. Okay. We'll do this.
Who's catering lunch today? I don't know.
Yeah. And an apprentice, I feel like, is called forward to put up the not as above, so below. Whatever, visible runes to set the space. And so, yes, we start off with the who has the edge at the start of the dual arcane, making a contested Gnosis plus Arcana roll. But it must be one of their ruling Arcana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so jumping over to here.
This person I'm dueling I'm probably gonna find out in a second, but are they
There are no Brimos.
Yeah.
All 3 of them are Obrimos.
Mm-hmm. Fuckers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, and then Basics. Suddenly the Tempestari suddenly all became Thyrsus. Like, we don't let Obrimos in. Last time we let Obrimos in, they started eating Supernals. So let's see here, jumping back and forth.
If you thought you knew something about an Obrimo, so it turns out it wasn't actually true ever, and you misremembered, is that the Mandala effect?
Chris, I thought just because it was just gonna be one-on-one, I wouldn't have to deal with this shit.
Just picture Ralph's booming laugh in your head.
Okay, so Arcana roll. Each makes. Okay, so we don't actually care which Arcana. Okay, so yes, you're
ruling.
Mm-hmm. So it will be. I think just because it's kind of appropriate. It's gonna be Nishaf against you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the ladies squaring up. And so her Gnosis of 5. Alt tab failing. And then I think it's appropriate that she uses her forces. So it is 10.
Cool.
Oof. Okay. So the chef has the edge. 30 seconds to a minute. Whoever has edge rolls first. And on the first turn, choose if they want to use the shield or sword action. I think she will start off by being the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Right, not using consecutive dice pools. Don't have the edge.
Yeah, that's what you start though.
Yep. Don't have the edge, and the description isn't appropriate. And you lose the 10 again. Cumulative. Yep. That's success. Reduce. Yep. Oh, I forgot. If you have falling wisdom, the cumulative die penalty is treated as if it were only half as much when using sword action because of the ease with which your soul releases magic into the world.
Cool.
Okay. So, yeah, she's starting out with sword, with Gnosis, and I think she'll just go ahead and roll 10 again. With 4. As she calls forth, I think literally a sword, just because it's classic, of a storm, a great sword made of thunder clouds, which, was very, it looks eerily similar to the walls of Ahibahu's fortress, right? Just comes swinging down. There's no subtlety to it. This is a I'm smiting you Obrimos maneuver.
Excellent. She like rolls back, like drawing her guns out as tools, not as I'm gonna shoot you during the arcane.
No, that would be a very great Indiana Jones moment.
Indiana Jones moment of just boom. Select the suck. And she's going to summon Alfoth up out of the gun to catch the sword in his teeth. It's the last clap, but it's the last chomp.
Yep. All right,
man.
Well, still, that's
one success.
Yep.
Okay.
And then,
so she definitely still has the edge.
Yep. That's 4. Okay. I've got my running notes in Discord. Neither of you make a exceptional success. Neither of you fail. It is now your. Oh no, because that was your turn. And you like the edge. You can put forth an offer. All right. So yeah, she maintains the edge. Use the wrong pool. These turns don't have to be consecutive. Make sure. Oh yeah, so she just continues with the sword then. Okay. Yep. Making sure we're doing this the right way. And so unfortunately, this is where her weakness is going to show, because she is Tempestari. She's all about this. She's all forces. So she does bring forth her prime. All
interesting.
2 dice of it.
So she like doesn't even have the optional. Man, all right.
No, these are very bad Tempestari.
Great.
And yeah, so in this part, using prime. In this case, instead of the great sword, which came down and was gobbled up, and I imagine like we even see Alfoth just eat the sword. You didn't out success her, but you still easily defended her. And so instead bringing in prime, and it's on par with Helena's kind of vibe. Like there is this righteous fury, angelic choir kind of stuff, and it is just this sonic, like it would be a sonic attack, right? Just this loud choir of angels, the holy presence kind of washing over you, which is, considering what you've just dealt with Ahibahu and being like, oh yeah, I'm on the side of the angels. It is like, bro.
But she's definitely still on the back foot, trying to defend. Just battered by this, and I think she leans into her, like the the righteousness that she felt, the awe that she felt in the presence of the Mayfly, and does her best to like like tell me if this still sounds defensive, but like make a shield of that time of like you can't harm me until it is my time to be harmed.
Ooh, yeah, pulling on the whole like
Yeah.
the and I can't remember how we described it, and it was literally yesterday. The inevitable march of time.
Yeah.
It's like no,
Yeah,
I haven't reached there yet. You can't harm me. I like that.
Mhm. Go for
4. Can't remember when it's tied. Does it
in the like
swap?
context. Yeah, I think it's just, you're still supposed to redo the edge when it's just like the context of it has changed, and I think like matching her and like
Hmm.
feeling that press feels like
I
a
dig that.
potential or
Yeah.
maybe another Nessus Arcana.
Yep. Trying to remember. Does she now have to use a different?
Oh, for the edge.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah,
Um,
that's findable too.
yeah. Problem is, you have higher. Her. It has to be her ruling arcana, so she has to roll now to take the edge with 7. Yep. Let's go
Reroll.
ahead and roll that off. And just re-roll. Obviously, not costing you another.
Okay,
Sure.
I think I have the edge now. I
I
wish that
think you
was an
have the
actual
edge now.
attack, but
Yeah.
fuck. That's
Um,
10 successes on my edge roll, by the way. Audio.
yeah,
folks.
thank you, podcast folks. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. I like the idea of like this choir of angels saying, no, I stand on the side of
like,
the angels. And it's
and
like,
she like protects herself with time, and then steps forward, and just like her wings come out, and flare with the absolute like, I am here, I am alive, and it is my turn.
I like it.
And I think sticking in that with the life that has served her, which she doesn't always rely on, but I think in this like back against the wall, like feeling pressure, I think it's this like claws and teeth and just absolute feral like pounce on her, like
Especially like the
modifying my body and everything. Like, you are lying, and I will prove that you are no better than flesh and blood that I tear from you.
especially countering after the prime,
Yeah,
which kind of sets herself above. Yeah. 4.
another 4.
Nice.
So that puts me at 9. She's at 8 before this defense roll.
Yep.
So could still very well lose right here.
Yeah. And let me review back because it's blah 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 blah. If you don't have the edge and the description doesn't match, can't use the same attribute in consecutive dice. That's right. So she can go back to her prime.
And she can go to her forces.
Correct. That's what I meant. Yes. Man, I love when stuff just works. The narrative matches. So that's 2 successes, podcast folks. That puts
Leaves her shy.
Yeah, that leaves her 3 shy. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yep. And
what is her like defense?
I think that's that, and I probably will give her a penalty after this because it's like, oh yes, I'm going to use forces to combat a wild animal, and it's like it is this. She's a Tempestari. She has one thing in her head, and it's this raging storm. And it's like, dude, the wolves hunt in the storm. The storm does not stop, and so there is this in my head, the feral animal coming at her, and pounding rain, loud thunder, lightning flashing, but the animal just keeps coming. Like there's the hunt. It is hungry. It does not care. So yeah, starts to accumulate her negative penalty, losing 10 again on the next roll and a -1 on her next roll. But it may not matter.
And so just from this, like, I mean, I think petrichor is just like swelling, growing up, and from this like feral stance like grows into not just like a creature of violence, but the essence and like spirit side feeling of like, if that creature hunted you forever, this is the spirit that would form from it.
Right. So flexing, not. Ooh, yeah, done.
That gets it, right?
I don't think there's a shield. Victory, no matter what the turn.
That's kind of the whole thing with the edges. You get there first, right?
Right. When the final door is open for one of the duelists, soul is laid bare and is good as spiritually destroyed. She is helpless against her opponents and has spent himself. At that moment, the duel ends. Magical space created by it fades, and everybody falls back to the fallen world. You refresh your willpower and gain the triumphant condition.
Great, because I spent it all.
Yep. Loses as many willpower points as she lost Arcana dots and suffered the defeated condition.
So one. Or she didn't have any failures. She didn't actually lose any dots.
Oh, that's right from the failure. Yeah. Okay, yep. If it were to the death or something equally drastic, a execution may proceed, but happens in the fallen world outside of the sacred dueling space. In this case, she falls to her knees, spent, kind of broken.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's a physical exhaustion. And then everybody watches as the other two fall to their knees beside her. And it is a soul-racking event as, basically a puzzle piece that completes their soul gets pried out of them. And to a mundane observer, nothing is happening. Like, there's no, funky little essence flying out, but everybody with mage sight on, because of course everybody had mage sight on for this. I'm gonna get
my arcane beats out of this shit.
There's the apprentices over here, like scribbling down notes and watching this in detail as effectively a chunk of their souls is ripped out and just sent into, I think, in my head, into the maelstrom, right? Returned back to where it belongs. They don't get to keep it. It doesn't disappear into the aether. Right. It belongs to the Tempest. And they're, rattling, and like she falls forward, catches herself with one hand and like looks to everybody else. Now she's no longer part of the Tempest. Now she's technically trespassing. And Abigail like quickly stepping forward, and it's Abigail doing her absolute best, smiling, happy, witch, the mischievous, aspect, not the hag aspect that Baba Sarah totally rocks. Abigail just helps her to her and then helps the others get the fuck off my cloud. And she eats them. 1, 2, 3, just thrown via forces. And she's like, goodbye. And
you're grounded.
Yeah. And like throws and turns away, and like there's some sudden murmuring, and she's like, whatever happens to them is between them and their abilities. That is none of our concern. They're gone. And then like walks over and pats her shoulder, because I'm sure Petrichor is a little winded.
Eating it up though.
No, that's true.
Sure.
Yeah, you got that triumphant. So it's
Absolutely.
the glisten of the victor, right? Still breathing hard, but I'm a badass kind of thing.
Like she's suddenly anointed in olive oil out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like this is the sort of Greek vibe going on on the Tempest.
Yeah, because that's their origin, right? Yeah. And then you have this, Persian influence, as like,
filtered through the church and Latin and all that.
Yep. Oh, also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of Ahibahu being his.
Well, like I was explaining why it's Tempestari when that's not like Greek.
Oh, okay. I'm with you. Yeah. But Abigail's turns and says, "Those are the ones that we knew of, and they have been dealt with."
I think Petrichor like maybe oversteps a little bit and is like, would anyone else like to say anything in defense of eating the divine as sustenance or trying to become one themselves?
And that, like, there is this, heavy silence, and no, I think everybody's good. And Abigail, looks and says, "Mentors, there's anything that you have been involved with that would be a sin against everything that we know as mages." And you could watch her like peer. Well, man, I cannot remember their names, but the two Tempestari way back a decade ago,
the ones that wanted to have me as their strategy
for both the Diamond Order and the Seers. And because regardless of our politics, we are all mages here. We are the wise. If there's anything any of you want to have and you want to set yourself free, you know what? Come talk to me. Otherwise, I'm going to let Petrichor get you. And because in my mind, and feel free because the Tempest are your creation, the nameless order in the Tempestari probably are not a large faction. It's probably, the Seers and the Diamond Order and then a small section. But Abigail is like, no. We're here.
We're gonna shape the and like that's something I know I texted about, but like I think Petrichor even like speaks up as like, we have a policy as an order here, as a legacy, that we do not let worldly politics interfere. And while I do agree that is for the better of peace within our legacy, it also allows things like this conspiracy to have taken root, and that people will protect their own and not have it seem outlandish because it might cross the borders of major factions from below.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a bit of murmuring. There's definitely some verbal, what's the term? Murmurs under their breath of to upstart nameless folks, but at the same time, like, the Diamond Order looking over at the Seers, because every time they stand anywhere, they're always on opposite ends. Right? They're looking, and it's like,
across the aisle.
To be fair, they have a point. Like there's some stuff that we can argue about, but there's some things that go beyond our disagreements. Like we all venerate the supernal in one way or another.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is correct.
Yep. And so there's a quiet like agreement, and Abigail kind of restates, it's like, let's not let this expand, let's not let these ideas fester, and especially because you had mentioned Ahibahu, that's his legacy, right? I'm gonna let you know, yeah, because the legacy looks a lot like the Tempestari from the outside. And yeah, it is, we would say, a spin-off. Yeah.
What is the? There's like a term for that. But lost it.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but yeah, it's what the Clavicularis and the Beni Ashmati did. Oh, did Drew have a chance to talk about the Beni Ashmati?
Those two really do feel like somebody was like, hey, let me copy your homework. It's like, all right, but change it so it looks different enough so we don't get in trouble.
Yep.
And I think that's actually legitimately what happened. So
it's a little more, it's a very yin yang thing. It's like we tame our urges. The other's like, we hang out with our urges.
Shit's fucking dope though.
Yeah. But yeah. With that, I think Abigail, dismisses everyone. And there's a couple, murmurs.
Petrichor's wise enough to not continue to push it and overstep her bounds in this moment. Right. Like there will be time to do that.
And that I think is also Abigail's concern, is that like, this is a win. We're going to take this win. Okay, you all can go. And there's some murmurs because that's not, Abigail's not quite, she's not at the head, right? No, but she's right. So we're going to let her get away with this one.
I picture this order as just a hugely, wildly discordant, like total democracy.
Yeah.
Right.
Which because both the Diamond Order,
no one would agree to participate unless it was like that, right?
Right. And the Diamond Order and the Seers hate the idea that it's a democracy.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're like, yeah, this is terrible. Why did we come up with this idea? And it's like, because
you let one American into your order and suddenly
all goes to shit. And the French showed up and they had this revolution idea. Now this is where we're at. Yeah. So everybody starts to quickly space out because and again, this is a Tempestari thing in my head. Once we have one dual arcane, you know what? On the same thought, somebody else has like,
the airing of the grievances.
Yeah, it's like let's just get this all aired out now, and everybody's like, what? Let's not do that now. This was kind of a bigger thing. There are a couple folks among the Nameless Order who kind of come over to you and Abigail, right? Because you're not a faction, but by the nature of you not being part of a faction, you become a faction. Right. Who are coming in and checking in with you a little. You handled yourself well. That duel, in Petrichor's case, right? You were punching above your weight, right? Yeah. And so there's some applause there, but there's some from the Seers and Diamond Order who come over and ask Petrichor more of exactly what was being done, like the nature of the experiments and stuff like that, not in a like morbid fascination kind of way, but if this guy was doing this like in the Tempest, there others, and because you all the Witches of Purgatory Bluff, this was a legacy. That's how Legba found it, there may be others hidden
in
away
other
in
emanation
emanation
realms,
realms. Hmm.
because it would have to be in there to keep them like present, right?
Hmm. And to have basically the buffet of
Right,
supernal beings. Yeah.
right.
And
So
so,
yeah, I mean, she's pretty open with that. I
yeah.
don't think she's. I mean, it's just like, yeah, this is actually a legitimately thing that like everyone should be. She's not cagey about like it for a politics reason. Like, um, anyone that has questions, she fields them for a while, and especially make sure to like talk about like the one that was a sleeper merged
Mhm.
with a supernal.
Yeah. The idea of, yeah. Yeah. He was doing more than just eating them, guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because she's got the spirit terminology of like, and if they're good Tempestari, so do they, right?
Right.
He's like acclaimed of a supernal made out of a sleeper with the
Yep.
shard of abyss that resides in their heart, corrupting it.
Yep. And that one was the egregious one, but there was a sleepwalker or
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
There was one, not that we went into it, but there was one that was a werewolf.
Oh,
Because like,
cool.
oh yeah, they're already part way that there. Maybe it'll
Yeah,
be easier for them. No,
that's
uh,
not how it works.
no. But yeah,
Also, that definitely was like Petrichor learning what a werewolf was. That was real
yeah.
in the
Well,
moment. It maybe thinks about it now, like, wait, hold on.
let me
Oh,
think back to Mexico.
yeah.
Yep. Um, and so yeah, eventually things kind of settle. Everybody leaves, and Abigail is there on a broom, and she, and then like the performative face kind of drops. She looks over at you, and she is like, "I still want to hit you with this broom. That was 2 weeks. Are you kidding?
I'm fucking tired.
You're
We were
tired.
all, we were only there for a day. We slept once.
Do you feel now 2 weeks tired or
No.
okay? Well, I mean, um, yeah. Let's head back to Purgatory Bluff.
Yeah.
and,
Uh,
and it is very much, she
certainly.
is straight up designated drivering you.
Hmm. Yeah.
She's like, okay, you've been through some stuff, and then you showed up, then you did a dual arcane. I'm gonna make sure you get home.
Yeah. Just like hanging on the broom. Just like, yeah, Jules will appreciate this.
Yeah. Um, she's like, yeah, I thought about checking in with him, but I don't have a really good way of doing that and
Mm,
keeping an eye here. So yeah, I'm sure he
yeah.
is out of his mind.
Yeah. Fair.
So you guys enjoy the flight, because I can't remember where we said the maelstrom was, but wasn't that
Um,
bad.
in the Gulf,
Oh, that's
I
right. Yeah,
thought.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and yeah. So it's a flight up from Mexico up to
Yeah.
Colorado, with just you and your mentor, and she has a much easier way of doing it with the broom.
Hmm. Hmm.
Instead of flapping, it's like
Right.
having wings is great, but you still burn them calories, you still work the
Yeah.
muscles, and
Yeah.
she's just like, I'm cruising. I think that may have been one of those like, over the past decade, the arguments of, and
Uh-huh.
she's like, this is just easier. And you're like, but it's cooler when you have wings.
Yeah. Have you considered being part bird?
Yeah. Um,
And I think like I don't know if I've touched on this, but like part of the reason why that's such a strong imago for Petrichor is how like trapped and alone she felt for so much of her sleeper life, and the freedom to just be in the sky is like such a
and
like
under her own
just
power.
yeah.
I
There's
like
like
that.
so much of like leading to her awakening, and then like developing as a mage, and forming her shadow name and stuff like that. Like that freedom is like, it's why she immediately chafed under um the presence of the diamond folks when they
Mhm.
came to Purgatory Bluff and everything. It's like,
Yeah, because they showed up and
you're
they're
not-
like, well, here's some
Yeah.
restrictions. And you're like, nah.
I don't think so.
Nah.
I don't think so.
Like, these all sound reasonable, but they're restrictions imposed on me. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already have a list of things I can't do, and it's in the Bible. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. So yeah, the two of you fly in, you know, and this point, the both of you are quite adept at flying in undercover. And you know, she changes clothes. You're still not entirely sure how she does it, because she doesn't like
I
carry a
watch
backpack.
every time.
Yep.
I watch every time. I'm just like, wait,
there's this little dance. She glows, and then her clothes are different. But yeah, so you get in, and Jules is there, like, and immediately like pulls you in for that hug, the big smooch, and he's just like, yeah.
Isabella just goes, I missed you so much. It's been a long 2 days.
He's like, I already know. I asked the others. You're gonna have to explain because I need to put it in my notes. But it's been 2 weeks. It's been a long 2 weeks. Everybody's good. Everybody's fine.
Mhm.
Theodosia might lose an ear. Because Catherine was.
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Yes.
I think all of us immediately felt the most empathy and sympathy that we've ever felt in our life for Theo. The second that Abigail said it had been 2 weeks. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
She like pinches his cheek and she's like, because I know you would do such a great job taking care of our daughters and taking care of the town in my stead.
Yeah. Well, I take care of the daughters. The deputies take care of the town, because that's one step. Just no.
I meant on behalf of the coven.
Oh. Yeah. Don't put that on me. I don't need that. I'll do it, but I won't be happy about it. Hi, Abigail. Glad to see you. No toys. No toys. Thank you.
What do you mean, no toys?
No magic toys.
The girls are going to be asking about them.
Yeah, I know. But
she just says this like little sing song, like, Auntie Abigail, what'd you bring me?
And Abigail is actually, that's a really good point. I think I'm going to take the two of them camping for a night or two. Smiles at the two of you. and goes in, and it's like she's not taking no for an answer. She's not taking no for an answer. And she's subtle with the magic. They never seem to get rained on when the storms roll through. They always sleep really, really comfy.
I mean, this doesn't have to be magic that can hurt them because it's part of the Tempestari.
Yep, exactly.
Just always be like, yeah, we're good.
Yep. And just like smiles at the two of you.
It feels
Y'all
like
have a good night.
a little out of the spirit of the Tempestari to use it to have clear weather, but
yeah. And Jules, brings you inside, and it's they're obviously there's so romantic and intimate, but it's interspersed. And I think this is the thing, because we haven't talked too much about it, but there's this back and forth of, like, I guess the term pillow talk of like being nerdy mages.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because for, Petrichor, we Petrichor amongst the coven, right, is probably the
jock.
Right, yeah. But she's still a mage. She still has her obsessions,
Yeah, for sure.
And Jules trying to play catch up and trying to keep track of things. And I imagine, like, there's a book that he has got, like, separate from his sorcery stuff, that is like where he goes full magical assistant. He is your sleepwalker, right? Where it's
Right.
like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's make these
Right.
notes. What did you see?
Got a bestiary of spirits.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's the shared notebook between the
Yeah,
two
yeah,
of
yeah,
you.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And yeah, kind of breaking things down, and then also the I guess the emotional support of like
Mhm.
also they like the coven didn't said you were gone for 2 weeks, but didn't go into a lot of detail of what kept you away.
Mhm.
And we have the emotional support side of like, you know, and I don't I guess I will ask you like
Yeah.
the
I think it's the two of them curled up in a chair in front of the fire
Mhm,
and like a glass of wine and or brandy or something.
mhm.
And like the last vestige of petrichor fades off and is Isabel being like, I was so upset, saddened, horrified. I I have my beliefs that these powers, these abilities are given down from on high, and to see someone so recklessly go against that, but then to be faced with the fact that the true fact that he was from a time before Christ, and like I'm left in an entirely different sort of awe than normal of this world that I feel lucky to have been a part of and blessed to be a part of, but that scares the shit out of me sometimes.
He nods and he's, you know, supportive and mentions like, I mean, truthfully, we have some terrifying things just on the other side of the gauntlet here, like
I know,
in points, and you know exactly where at the
I know where he's
cave.
pointing.
Yep.
Yep.
And for folks at home, we're not talking about the mine.
She of many legs and many eggs.
Yes. And it's like we know we are literally sitting above her just on
Yeah.
this side of the gauntlet, and
Yeah.
and and then there's the river,
Yep.
who I swear one of these days I'm just gonna bind her into a bottle. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna bind her into a bottle. I'm sure it will have absolutely no consequences for the town.
Yeah. Definitely not. Don't do that, please.
Yeah. No, I'll
We
have
have
you do that.
we haven't fair. We have an agreement currently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's been behaving.
Yeah. Until she doesn't,
Um
and then
yeah. Yeah, and then
okay,
I'll whoop her
yes.
ass again.
Yeah. Um
But I'm so glad that I have you.
I'm glad I have you.
And gives him a big old smooch, and then I think just leans into his shoulder and starts crying.
Yep. Yep. Because like there's a point where it's like you have visited justice, but it doesn't change the
Mhm.
fact that, you know, she has done a horrific thing, seen
Right,
a horrific thing. It
right.
wasn't, you know, wasn't by her consent, it wasn't with her knowledge, but it's
Yeah,
there, you know.
yeah,
It's the thing I'm gonna end up asking everybody is like, okay, we continue with this, but also how do you guys deal with the fact that you all have eaten a supernal being?
yeah,
You know, at least a piece of.
yeah.
And it's yeah. And uh nobody used it because we didn't actually use a spell, but you know, there's that power that you all
Mhm.
felt from it. It's like, oh, this is really cool. and,
Yeah,
and now you have it, and it's like, whoa,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, yeah, so yes. And he's like, it's for him being, you know, the little cinnamon roll nugget of goodness that he is, it's just like, oh, it's cry time. Cool. We got this.
Yeah.
I am engineered for this. You know, and
I think
just,
there's something just like very intimate and special in that Jules is the only one that ever gets to see her like that.
yeah, because as Sheriff Isabel, there's no way in hell she can
There's
put
no way
that
in hell
face
she
out
can
there.
do that.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, with even with the deputies who know her, and at least both of them, I think, know that she's a mage, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So like but you can't show that face to them, but you know, and can't show it
there's
to the
just
kids either.
so many fraught things that could happen, or so many ways for it to be like, used against her.
Mm-hmm.
She's a woman and all this, and
Yep.
um, you know,
That's good.
yeah. Um, just because I think it's funny, I think she goes, "I'm glad nothing bad's gonna happen again."
Nope, never again.
Nothing
We're all
more
done.
bad will happen from now on.
Yep. Yep.
Can have some nice calm times, and Chris knowing elsewhere that
a lot of bad things.
Catherine has just asked to, or just demanded that she be shown the Tempest.
Yep, into the Tempest. Yeah. And then like as everything's kind of settling down, Jules goes, "So why did you go into the Tempest anyway?"
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where we put the pin in it.
Yeah. And she just like starts telling him again. And then like it ends up being like a whole nother cycle of this, of like when she like accesses those memories again, it's like, oh right.
Yep. Because they're like, she can remembering, but that just throws you right into the memory, and it's just like, oh yeah, no, this was terrible. So for you folks at home, we'll probably check in with Jeremiah when Ralph shows up. We'll see some more of that, and obviously get into ass kicking some Seers in the near future. Got to go find them. I think we have one name. Yeah. So, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Chris, for this. This was really fun.
I like this.
Yeah, it requires some extra effort for me, but I love doing them. For folks at home, I don't know if this is going to be all one big episode, or we're going to have like 4 different episodes. But stay tuned. Or
by the time you're seeing this, you'll know.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe
if there's another hour of video after this, then
yeah, that's true. Yeah, if I wave and then I come back, then otherwise we'll see you on the next episode. If this actually makes it in, that means swing by Discord, www.yeetinto.space, to come chat with us. And if you want to support us monetarily, that's staylucky.club. And we'll see you next time, or maybe in just a second.